NBA Finals are here. Are you sick of narrative-based media and all these things that have absolutely nothing to do with actual basketball? Well, you came to the right place. I have 6 keys per team that is going to show who's going to win the finals. Will it be the Luka Kyrie combo Dallas Mavericks, or will it be the Boston Celtics finally getting over the hump? Find out on today's episode of the Kev BK Beloved Show. But first, hit my music. Reason number 1, Luka Doncic is unstoppable. And this is not because Luka Doncic, the scoring champion who averaged almost 34 points a game in the regular season. This is because of Luka Doncic, the dimer. It's one of those things similar to the James Harden, Russell Westbrook thing of the last decade, where they would always call them ball hogs, which is weird because they were some of the best passers we had and were always in that 8 to 10 assist a game range. Luka Doncic is the same way. In fact, got some numbers for you. Luka Doncic leads the playoffs in both assists on three-pointers with 50 and assists on dunks with 49. And if you watch how the Mavericks play, that's about how it works. Run the pick and roll with Luka. You try to blitz him. Derek Lively and/or Daniel Gafford is rolling to the rim. Luka lobs the ball, hits him with a pocket pass. Boom, dunk. Or someone tries to double off the corner. PJ Washington became Klay Thompson all of a sudden. Boom, knocking it down from the corner. That's kind of how their offense runs. And right now, at this current moment, he is tied for most all time when it comes to assists with dunks with Draymond from 2019. So if he gets 1 throughout this entire final series, he will have the record. And again, that's before we get to the fact that he is averaging 28.8 points a game for these playoffs, which is the first among players that are in this series, and leads the whole playoffs in total points with 489. So you're going to hear a lot of discourse about how the Celtics are going to match up against Luka, and will it be Brown? Will it be Tatum? Will it be White? Holiday? It doesn't matter. There is no stopping Luka Doncic. You just got to hope he misses. That's your best shot. Hope he misses. We mentioned the corner threes earlier. Dallas, really good at corner threes. That's number 2. Dallas Mavericks lead the playoffs with 4.6 corner threes per game. And that is 34% of their corner 3 attempts. That is their second highest rate coming from the corners. PJ Washington leads all individuals with 28 corner threes. 5 shy of Bruce Bowen's record of 33 of 2007. That was a Spurs team that swept baby LeBron and the Cavs out the finals. And Derrick Jones is tied for second with 17. Like I said, the offense is predicated on either you double Luka or Kyrie and they kick it to a corner, / lob it to someone or hit him with a pocket pass or a dunk, or you leave them single and they cook you. Those are your options. And then on the other end of the floor, number 3 is that Dallas's defense is not just good. Dallas's defense is holy shit good. Last 20 games of the regular season, they were number 1 in defensive rating. Might have been started the game after they last played the Celtics, which is why if you're watching regular season Mavericks Celtics game, save yourself some time. Don't watch them. They don't help. These are 2 very different teams from that point. Dallas opponents have shot just 51.1% in the paint. Third lowest among opponents in the playoffs. Opponents have shot 45.2% at the rim when Daniel Gafford is there to protect it. That is the best rim protection of all players with at least 50 shots at the rim. Derek Lively is third best, and they're at 59.3% at the rim. And sneaky as well, I heard a lot of people say attack Luka Doncic. For me, that's a key that shows you are not watching these games, because Luka Doncic is not the matchup nightmare that he used to be on the other end of the floor. I don't know what Jayson Kidd told him. I don't know what Kyrie told him. Maybe it's the new owner who bought the team from Mark Cuban. Luka Doncic is playing defense now. He ain't Scottie Pippen, but he's not someone you could pick on either. Number 4 is Kyrie Irving, the killer. The killer that is Kyrie Irving. The averages throughout the playoffs are meh by his standards, if we're being honest. Not that they're bad. He's around 25 points a game, which is about what you'd expect from your second option, but he's not killing it from the counting stats, but that's what we got advanced analytics for. The Mavericks are 27.6 points per 100 possessions better with Kyrie Irving on the floor than they are with him off. Even if he's not scoring the ball repeatedly, because I'm sure we've all heard ad nauseum how sometimes in the first halves he won't be as aggressive when it comes to scoring. His very presence on the basketball court is making the Mavericks a better team. Side note, before we continue the reasons, we have completely lost the plot on Kyrie discourse. We've lost it, and I don't know if it could be found again. Now, to start the playoffs, I gave Kyrie Irving an apology, but it's not an apology for things we said about him in the past when he was saying all the wild things. It was an apology because I didn't think we were going to get another positive version of Kyrie Irving again. I thought it was a wrap, and it isn't, clearly, which is why I apologized. But for all of you that are asking for an apology for tweeting out the anti-Semitic documentary or the vaccine that, let's be honest, cost this team a season, or all the Boston antics, which, as I said last week's podcast, I put way more of that on Brad Stevens than I do on Kyrie Irving. Like, just because it worked out well now does not mean the things that happened prior are just automatically invalid. That's not how these things work. And the main thing, y'all want to just do all this deep dive. Well, I don't know how he made this deep of a change and this deep of a journey. And blah, blah. He's 32 years old now, and he's a father of 2, and he's married. You think that got something to do with it? He's no longer the 26, 27-year-old kid he was in Boston. He's over 30. And a father of 2. You think that got something to do with it? Maybe now he thinks a little more before he does or say things. I don't know what his political views or ideology is anymore. Kind of doesn't matter. Okay, back to the reasons. Number 5, Luka and Kyrie as a duo are averaging the most points per game in the playoffs as a duo, with 51.6 as a duo. And it's not even just the fact that they can score, it's how they score, because there's no stat for this. There should be. For lack of a better term, we played perfect defense and he still made that shot anyways. They may be 1, 2, or 1 and 3, depending on how you rate Jokic's end of possessions, just hurl the ball at the basket shots. They make ridiculous shots, and they are able to create shots for themselves in ways that other players just aren't. Kyrie Irving, we talk about his finishing at the rim a lot, but I don't think we really talk about the way he creates separation for himself, whether it's, I'm not going left hand just for the sake of it. I'm going left hand because I got to use my right to shield off this 7-footer away from me so I can actually get to the bucket. Or Luka Doncic's step back gives him like a millimeter of space to get that ball off. And that's plenty. That's all he needs. And if you get late in a game, compared to what we've seen over the years of sample sizes for the Celtics, not the Celtics team we saw last series or this year for the most part. Over the years, if you're telling me it's tied game, 90 seconds left in the game, Dallas has the ball, you're going to expect Dallas to leave with that win because one of those players are hitting a big shot. Because they're going to get the shot they want. It's just a matter of whether they make it or not. And then number 6, and this is where, if you're a Boston Celtics fan, this should be your biggest concern. The targeting of Kristaps Porziņģis and/or Al Horford. Al Horford has been targeted all playoffs long from the moment he got in to fill in for Kristaps Porziņģis. Some moments have been better than others. We've been watching Al Horford long enough to see where he was the primary Giannis and Embiid matchup, to now where Aaron Nemhard is blowing past him like it's nothing. And we saw what Luka and Kyrie were able to do to Rudy Gobert. And I know y'all got your Gobert jokes. Gobert plays good defense. We don't have to lie about these things. Add that with Kristaps Porziņģis, according to all reports, is going to end up playing. How much he'll be playing, we don't know. Minutes restrictions starting, we don't know yet. But his first game in, a month, 5 weeks? Congratulations, you're now on a switch against Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving. Have fun. That's just not a good situation to be in if you're the Boston Celtics. So that's very concerning if you are a Celtics fan. All right, 6 reasons for the Boston Celtics. Reason number 1, by the numbers, the Boston Celtics are all-time excellent. I don't want to hear anything about the Celtics' path to the finals. You have to win the games in front of you. And I'm not going to compare their path to anybody, but there's a certain player who I believe is the greatest of all time, who we never bring this up with unless we're comparing them to someone else who we think is the greatest player of all time. So if we're not going to do it to them, we're not doing it to the Celtics. And also, back to them being, on paper, one of the greatest teams ever, they won 64 games and had a 14-point lead on the rest of the Eastern Conference. There have only been 4 other teams who have had a double-digit lead on their conference. All of them won championships. 2012-2013 Miami Heat, 95-96 Bulls, 2014-2015 Warriors, 08-09 Lakers. That's the list. That's the whole list. Offensive rating is the highest in NBA history, 122.2 points per 100 possessions, so that's plus 22. Set league records with 17 25-point wins, 10 30-point wins. First team in 28 years to have the highest net rating in the regular season and each round of the playoffs. The Boston Celtics have been kicking ass all year long. The playoffs were never going to be any different. Speaking of kicking ass, Jaylen Brown has been kicking ass. Outside of even just the incredible game winner that he had game one, which I'll be honest, I still don't know how he made that shot because nobody makes that shot. But in the paint, he has been shooting 65.1%, which is number one among all players with at least 100 paint attempts in the playoffs. In general, he is 25 points a game on 54% shooting. And he is not a player known for his efficiency. We now have a 3-series sample size where the opposition was Bam Adebayo in the paint, Evan Mobley in the paint, and the Pacers didn't really have a paint presence, depending on how you feel about Miles Turner. So that was a little different. But for the course of the entire playoffs, Jaylen Brown has been getting pretty much whatever he wanted in the paint. The other person kicking ass, Jayson Tatum. Another great playoff run for him so far. Cumulative plus minus for the playoffs. So plus minus from game one all the way to going into these finals is plus 141 when Jayson Tatum is on the floor. Pretty important because he averages 40.5 minutes a game. I imagine that goes up to 42, 43 for the finals. Maybe even 44. We'll see. And as a duo, this I guess is point 4. As a duo, they are only averaging 0.6 less points than the Kyrie Luka duo, who share a significantly heavier load for the Mavericks than Jaylen and Jayson do for the Celtics. And Jaylen and Jayson play 5 less minutes than Luka and Kyrie do. The usage rate is lower than Luka and Kyrie is. So not only are they about on par plus or minus 0.6 points, we're talking about more efficient in the way they get to it. And then you throw in the size and defensive component of it. Although I just credited Luka for his defense last segment, he still isn't a top-tier defender the way a Jayson Tatum and a Jaylen Brown will be when they are locked in. Point number 5, Joe Mazzulla is a man of numbers, and whatever statistically you are good at, he's going to take that away. He's very Belichickian in that way. Not saying he's Bill Belichick, but the way Bill Belichick is like, hey, whatever you're great at today, not today. We're taking that out the lineup. Joe Mass is kind of the same way. And as we spoke on earlier, Dallas Mavericks, one of the things they're the best at is that corner 3 shot. Throughout the playoffs, only 18% of the opponent's 3-point attempts for the Boston Celtics have been from the corners, which is the lowest in the playoffs, and 21% for the regular season, also the lowest in the playoffs. There's also a stat how the Mavericks were 4 for 16 in the regular season in the 2 times they played. But like I said earlier, 2 very different teams. We can throw that number out. And point number 6 is how great the Celtics have been at rebounding without their 7'2" unicorn who'll be back for the finals. They rank 2nd in defensive rebound percentage and have allowed just 8.3 second chance points per game, which is the fewest of any playoff team in the past 7 years. So they have shown if Porziņģis is not 100%, even though they'll be facing 2 7-footers on the other side of the ball in Dallas, they still won't get beat up on the boards as much because they've been able to pick up the slack in that way. All right, so final decision. And whether you believe me or not, I've tried my best to take my Celtics fan bias out of this because I want to give y'all an honest assessment, right? I think the talent gap between these two teams is very vast. I will give you Luka Doncic is the best player in this series. I did a top 10 list last week. I had Luka Doncic second best player in the league. I had Tatum at 4. I'll even give you a Kyrie at number 3. If you're doing the top 10 players in this series, the next 7 are Celtics. If Kyrie and or Luka have an even somewhat off night, which, by the way, is going to happen at least once to one of them. That's just how final series works. One of your best players are going to have a bad night. It happens to everybody. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, everyone has a bad game in the finals. It happens. You can go ahead and mark that one down as a loss for the Mavericks. They were able to escape with Luka playing OKC because they also only had one primary scorer. That's not a problem with the Celtics. I'll even go the other way. Luka and Kyrie can average 60 points a game, which would be the record. The current record as it stands is 59.8 points a game, 2001 Shaq and Kobe, where I know the Shaq carried Kobe narrative is pretty prevalent in NBA discourse. It's not true for all three of the finals. It's only true for the first one. They could average 60 points a game. You're talking about a Celtics team that averages 111. Where are these other 52 points going to come from? So I believe that the only way the Celtics lose is if they go out there and stink. Like, flat out stink, because the talent gap is that vast everywhere but Luka Doncic. And at 25 years old, as great as Luka Doncic is, I don't know if he's good enough to make up that much of a gap. So the final conclusion I come to is, come late June, the Boston Celtics will have won banner number 18 in 6 games, and I'll be drunk at the parade with all the Irishmen and women and whoever else is in Boston. I know they got a lot of Irish people up there, not the point.